Now, this week gives us an opportunity to look back at a year in 2011 in all parts of Australian society. A turbulent year in federal politics has been wearisome for some, but a blessing for cartoonists. And some of the year's best political cartoons are on display at the Museum of Australian Democracy at Old Parliament House at the moment. And former cartoonist with the Canberra Times, Jeff Pryor, took ABC News Breakfast's multi-talented presenter Melissa Clark on a tour of the Behind the Lines exhibition.
Well, Jeff Pryor, here at Old Parliament House, we've got 86 pretty amazing cartoons from a very big political year. It's been a good year for cartoonists,
It sure
lots of material.
has. And Guy Hansen has done it again. He's the curator and he's been doing it for years and he always does an excellent job. But walking through it, it's a really solid collection this year. You know, I think there's been a lot for cartoonists to get their teeth into, and I'm very impressed with it.
Absolutely. Now, of the 86, I am going to ask you to pick out a few favourites, and one of them is,
Melissa, that's a challenge. That's a real challenge. Yes.
But we're going to make you whittle them down, and
I'll try.
You can't go without picking a Mark Knight, a cartoonist with the Herald Sun. And do you think he's had a pretty good year this year?
I think he has. I've always liked Mark's work because he has such a funny graphic approach, and the ideas that he dreams up, he always manages to really get the comment through them in a very funny way. I mean, there's one here.
This is called Beady Little Eyes.
Yeah. Very graphic, you know. There's the chopping block and there's blood, and there's the disembodied head in the basket. We all know who that is. But what he's done, he's got this bold style, but he's developing a character of Julia Gillard as Elizabeth I, and it's something that cartoonists try and do, is to characterise the politicians in some way, use a metaphor, and it's all about visual metaphors, and he's really done well with that one.
Here we've got
like it.
The reigning queen with the head taken off on the chopping block.
And the eyes following her, which we know they are. You know.
Around the kingdom, as Mark Knight's small commentator always has in the corner too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So, Jeff, another cartoonist is First Dog on the Moon, who cartoons for Crikey.
That's right. And it's a cartoon, it's a strip it has acquired cult status. It's very idiosyncratic and very funny. I love it.
Particular taste.
Yeah. And of course, it's not the First Dog on the Moon, it's Andrew Marlton, who thinks that he's a secret figure that is really done by a dog. But Andrew, you've been outed, and it's Andrew Marlton for all your viewers.
And he should get full credit.
Of course he should, yes, because it's brilliant.
And, this one is a brilliant one in particular, A Day in the Life of the Prime Minister. Take us through it. Well,
of course, she's doing all those things that are inauspicious, you know, the black cat, the ladder, the umbrella opening.
Umbrella inside.
Yes.
Even walking under birds.
That's right. Putting a knife into a toaster, which is not bad luck, it's just bloody
stupid. It's just
stupid.
really silly thing to do, but I think that's a bit of a reflection on the year of the Prime Minister as well.
Finally, you know, what have we got? The banana skin, the custard pie, and the anvil dropping from a high. So, yes, I think you look at that and you say, for Julia Gillard, it has not been a vintage year.
She can't take a trick.
Yeah. Now, over here, this is an interesting one because this is Rocco Fasari, who is an illustrator for the Sydney Morning Herald, and he's always sort of on the lookout for images. You know, he likes images, and so it's not a cartoon in the sense that, you know, the others. We don't need any words to help tell the story. It's a straight picture to tell us. And it works because, you know, the overwhelming shadow of the eminence black, in this case Kevin Rudd, looking over the shoulder, and the shadow being thrown by Rudd is much larger than the shadow being shown by Julia. And so that's a point it makes. Not only is it a shadow behind her, it's looming over the top of her as well. It's very threatening. You know, it's. So it and really the Pinocchio nose as well. Oh yes, yes. Well, of course, you know. Two political comments in one illustration there. Well, caricature is all about looking on seizing those features which are prominent, and then you exaggerate them. And with Julia's nose, it's a gift, really, you know. Well, that's a great illustration, but there's plenty more cartoons to see there as well. There are indeed. Round the corner. Let's go.
So it's been such a big year politically. Does it make your fingers itch? Do you want to pick up the pen and pencil and start cartooning again yourself?
Well, looking at all of these, it does actually. Some of the issues are so strong that, and I feel so strongly about them that, yes, I do feel as though I'd like to get back into it. But then I remember the times when I sat there and ideas were slow in coming. And some days it was like giving birth, a mouse giving birth to an elephant. So,
well,
yes,
here we have David Pope, who's someone who comes up with an idea every day for the Canberra Times.
He does indeed. She's playing Limbo-opoly.
And we've got someone commentating outside saying that to Julia Gillard, she's just gently explaining to them how we refuse to let them to be used as pawns in the people traffickers game. And there she is reading the Monopoly card saying, oh my, not you too, go to Malaysia, go directly to Malaysia, do not pass onshore processing, do not collect any public exposure. So,
and so they're not pawns, eh? Yes. So that's exactly it. Yes. It's a complicated point to get across, and I think he's done it very well there.
And also an issue that has been running not just throughout 2011 but for a few years now, so coming up with new ways of expressing views and concerns about this sort of issue must be a real task.
Well, it is,
but
it is, but this is what makes it the game tough, because these issues go on for, if not months, for years, and the challenge is always to find something new and fresh to say about them. And sometimes, you know, in that situation, you just feel so tired of it, you just wish it would go away, and as many of the politicians would too.
Julia Gillard above all. Yes. Now, there's been some great political cartoons all throughout 2011, but to ask you for one favourite one that stands out above the best, I believe there's one that tickles your fancy.
Well, it does indeed, and it's one by John Kudelka here. It's on the big subject of the year, boat people, and there are a number of things I love about it. It's strong, it's powerful, really powerful, and it's simple. Now, you don't have to produce an oil painting, you know, to make a strong cartoon. I've always believed that some of the simplest ones are the best. To me, that's a top cartoon.
So it's a combination of this topical issue that has been plaguing politics for years, as well as a bit of Labor history, the light on the hill. We all know that that's meant to be about Labor values and compassion, and a simple action of Julia Gillard there switching it off.
She's turning compassion off, you see, and that's the power of it. Yes, so that's a goodie.
Alrighty, that's John Kudelka, The Light on the Hill, the pick for the 2011 political cartooning year. Your pick. Well, it's a very contentious, but I think you'd have a lot agreeing with you.
Yeah, and it's a hard ask too, Melissa. You've put me through the mill. Thank you very much.
Jeff Pryor, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
I'm sure many visitors in Canberra throughout the summer period are really going to enjoy looking over a lot of these cartoons.
I really love visiting a few old mates again.
Thank you.
And that's Jeff Pryor there, former cartoonist with the Canberra Times, and he's now involved with the Museum of Australian Democracy at Old Parliament House, where that exhibition Behind the Lines is being shown at the moment. It is up until about March, I think. So there's some amazing cartoons in that collection. That's only a handful of them. Yeah. And it's a great way of looking back at the political year, because they just capture some of those issues that have plagued governments for 12 months, for some years, and just encapsulate them in one small effort. And Jeff Pryor, in taking me around, was saying that his fingers itch just to want to get back into it, but he also says on the days where you can't come up with an idea, it's hell being a cartoonist.
Giving birth to an elephant, it's a good picture of him sitting at his desk.
Just how tough it is. But look, I think sitting in here filling in for Virginia, I know she liked that last cartoon we just showed in there as well, that John Kudelka one of Julia Gillard's in a lighthouse switching off the light on the hill to represent that seeming loss of compassion in the Labor Party when it comes to treatment of asylum seekers, and that one has been roundly applauded across politics, really encapsulating where politics has gone in 2011. So if you are in Canberra, I would definitely recommend going along to have a look at those cartoons at Old Parliament House.
And another big year in politics next year. Plenty more fodder for
absolutely. And look, there's been a lot of decisions made, but you have to remember by mid-next year there will be a carbon price in place, which everyone on both sides of politics is eagerly awaiting to see just how that's going to go.
Terrific. All right. Yeah, well, it's, I know you can't wait to get back up there and get back into
Absolutely.
political reporting, but it's nice to have you with us this morning.